Welcome to episode 22 of Bitcoin and Ethereum Elliott Wave Analysis with your host, the Cowboy here. Let's get started. And before we do, guys, you can find me here on Elliott Wave Cafe on Telegram. There's a public chat, there's a premium room. You can also get on Twitter and find me at Elliott Cafe. And let's get going. It's been a couple of weeks since our last presentation, and Bitcoin, it's been playing a couple of tricks on us. We were thinking that fourth wave was actually complete with the break to those new all-time highs, and actually we pulled back, which means that the market has some other plans here, but I don't think overall changes much the picture. We continue to remain bullish in here, continuing to look for this larger third wave cycle to continue to unfold, and those levels can be anywhere between 100 to 150,000. There's like some fib levels and things that matter. But for right now, I think we just want to make sure that this fourth wave gets to be completed. I think we get some signs that there is, but even if it wants to extend a little bit longer, I have no issues. I think the uptrend remains in track. We don't have a lot of technical damage in here. The RSI is dropping here a little bit on the weekly charts, but that can continue to drop as long as you move sideways as well. So we're clearly here in an uptrending channel. This continues to be respected. So I remain bullish in this wave 3 in progress. Here is how we're looking on a 2-day chart, where we're looking at the 1-2 primary here with another 1-2 intermediate, a finished wave 3 in here. And I had to modify this to kind of create a flat to allow this trend to continue. The reason why I've done that is because this move to new highs looks like it is in 3 waves, right? And usually when that happens, you would get a flat. And the nice reaction that we've gotten also from the 161.8 fib, a multiple of this wave A. So on a flat, this would be kind of the largest limits that you allowed for a C wave compared with this wave A, and we've kind of bounced nicely from there, along with this middle channel trend line that seems to be offering reactions here every time the price kind of starts to come back at it. So I like the proportionality that I'm getting here with the second wave. And as long as this doesn't get too long in here, I think we can assume that this is the case. A little bit better confirmation would be obviously the moment we start to break to new all-time highs. That would mean that this fourth wave expanded flat, we would call it, right? It would be more. You would have more confirmation, and we could actually secure a fourth wave on there. Until then, we're actually getting a little bit of an impulse off the lows, which is encouraging, but remains to be seen how that's going to unfold. But I think this count makes sense. Is my primary count at this moment. Again, you could be in a situation where this fourth wave can continue a little bit, and this is actually a decline lower in 5 waves. Let's say that's a wave A, and then you're getting a B wave in here, and this fourth wave continues to develop, and we would have to adjust a little bit the overall counts in here, but this can still be fine, and then you can move to the upside. So a couple of scenarios in here. I explained those almost every single day inside our program in there, but I think overall we're still looking higher. So here is how we're looking on a smaller time frame here on a 6-hour chart. You can see this kind of expanded flat correction where wave B travels above the origin of this wave A, and then that move is likely, it's better, I think, interpreted in a 3-wave, right? You have an A, B, C in here. That's a 3-wave decline, 3-wave advance, and then a 5-wave drop in 5 waves. So a C wave in here. So that's a fourth wave low, and now you're getting an impulse from here in a wave 1, a wave 2 in here, and now we're starting to see if we can get higher and make a little bit more of an impulse to get a 5-wave advance. Because if this move from these lows starts to be just in 3 waves, then we're going to have an issue, because this decline appears better interpreted as a 5-wave decline. So if all we're getting is just a simple A, B, and then up in C in here, then we're gonna have issues with the continuous advance, and we're likely going to drop back lower here towards 40,000 in this next corrective leg. So there's a lot of speculation still right after these levels here get hit, but I think even in terms of kind of closing up a gap in the futures market, from last week, those levels come around 62,000. I talked about this into our program as well. It's just I would like to see those levels getting close. How this unfolds up to there, that's going to dictate what's going to happen next into the price of Bitcoin. So it's pretty much as simple as that, right? There's several interpretations in here, but I think even by looking at the moving averages in here on a 1 week, the market responded very, very well to this 21-week moving average. You can see how in the previous bull markets here in 2016, 2017, how even though you've dipped below it, it offered pretty good support on the way up several times. And it's a pretty good, judge of trend overall. And, we've only gotten a couple of tests ever since we've had in the breakout, and this is pretty much the first kind of major test of this 21-week moving average. And for right now, it appears to be holding that 43,000 kind of swing level held as well. And we appear to be making more of a bullish engulfing or a piercing candle here into this week. And if the closes are going to stay strong, let's say until Sunday, there's likely going to be a continuation higher into the following week. So this is a look at the daily charts in here as well on the moving averages side. You see we've broken below the 50, so it's the first kind of major technical damage that we've done in terms of price advancement in here. And the only time where this actually happened was kind of back in September 2020, where you dropped below it and then you moved sideways, let's say for a little while before you start to gain the advance. So you can see in here that Bitcoin is actually trying to regain that 50-day moving average. I think it's an important also psychological level on there. Could offer a little bit of a resistance, so that's why I want to see in terms of a three-wave advance kind of what happens and if we're actually getting a bearish reaction from there, because if that's the case, then we're probably going to come back lower in here and kind of retest this maybe $43,000 level. So that's the risk that we have right now. We're not going to know what's going to happen until actually this starts to get a little bit better and a little bit more bullish. The next one that I have on here, it's just a candlestick. Let me just kind of delete this and give me a second here. Okay, so the candlestick patterns are looking interesting because on the right hand side on here you see I have the weekly chart. So this is this nice formation that you've had this pretty inverted, small inverted hammer, almost like it's not a shooting star, but almost like an inverted type of pattern. And then it was followed actually with the confirmation of this big bearish weekly candle. But we had no continuation on that. So the market said, listen, I know you guys want to be bearish and you've given me a reason to do so, but it's you guys don't have enough strength in here to continue to move lower, right? So now the bulls came back and are trying to close this week and take as much of the bearish gains that happened last week and kind of take them off. And so far continues to look pretty good. I would like to see this to completely engulf this candle, and that would be a pretty massive signal that there is actually an explosion higher. Even this kind of piercing pattern in here looks pretty good. So I'm very curious kind of how this week closes. Now, what I don't like on the monthly charts is that we're getting an big indecision candle on here, and this is a negative. This is, to me, it's kind of as bearish as it can get after a long advance in here for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So you have a pretty strong advance in here, for the past 6 months, and then into the month of April here you're kind of stalling. Right, so just in terms of rate of change, you would think that if you've gotten a big advance and then you're stalling, you would expect the market to do this next, right? At least this, or maybe kind of sideways, right? To kind of kill this momentum of this advance. So that's one bearish that I can see on the monthly charts. I'm encouraged by what I see on the weeklies, not as encouraged as what I see on the monthlies. So it's important that this candle gets invalidated by a move to new highs into the month of May. So that's kind of what I have my eyes on, and in terms of kind of price structure on the candlestick patterns, this is kind of what I'm looking at. let's take a little bit look of a seasonality in here, and I'm kind of going back to 2014, and you can see these numbers, and this is this is the performance of Bitcoin, right? And you can see these numbers in here. What these represent is basically the percentage of months in which Bitcoin actually closed higher than it opened. So you can see that the month of May, it's actually one of those months where we have a pretty strong performance, right? So in 86%, 86% of the time, the month of May actually closed higher than the previous one. So I think this kind of tells you that this is a good month, and it's basically only the average kind of percentage gain in the month of May was about 25%. So I'm encouraged by this. It's kind of one of the, if you look actually over across the whole year, you can see the month of May, it's one of the strongest months overall. The second one in here appear, actually at equality, kind of going back only to 2014, is the month of February as well. And then we're starting to drop a little bit in terms of this percentage number of months being bullish. Also in here you can see that 2017 remains the best performing year overall, with almost 1,300% gains for 2017. This is kind of a more of a yearly performance, and then you can see that 2020, it's kind of the second one. That we're here in 2021, and we're up about, I think, 90% or 100% on the year, but it's still there's still like, obviously we're making the higher you go in price, right? It's kind of the law of the large number. It's going to be harder and harder to make the super percentage gains. But I just kind of wanted to have a visual look of kind of where we are in this percentage gains kind of by year. The next one that I have on here, it's a little bit of a comparison, and I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It's a comparison with the S&P 500, and I think that Bitcoin continues to be pretty well correlated as a risk asset overall, and we have to kind of start thinking about it as being a much more important asset class, and just kind of put it in the basket overall with the others, and just kind of look at it as a risk on as a risk on asset. It's got all the signs as being as such, right? It's not a risk off move where when the markets are pulling back, people are buying Bitcoin, as it is kind of the case with the gold, right? It's not a fear index, it's more of a risk index. So we just kind of have to, unless things change, I guess it's important to follow what's going on across the world into the equity markets, and as people kind of continue to prefer risk, they continue to prefer Bitcoin, and they continue to prefer cryptos. And this shows you that it's a pretty good correlation. Now it's breaking here slightly, right, for the past, let's say, few weeks, as Bitcoin has been selling off a little bit. The S&P 500 continue to act pretty strong. So I'm really curious to see what happens if Bitcoin is going to catch back up to the S&P 500, or if the S&P 500 is actually going to sell lower. As you can see, even back in here, right, they were diverging a little bit. So as Bitcoin was selling off, the S&P 500 continued to push back. But then, as Bitcoin starting to correct from the lows, the S&P 500 actually sold off. So maybe that's something that's going to happen next. So I'm going to have an eye on the S&P 500 kind of going into the next week, into the month of May. That saying, sell in May and go away, it's one of the things that happens into the markets. I don't think it's it's super accurate, but I think it's worth kind of keeping an eye on and seeing what's going on in there. So let's continue to move in here. As in terms of percentage gains and performance with the other asset classes here, Bitcoin continues to be one of the best year to date. You have about a 99% gain. since the beginning of the year. And then on the second place in here, you have oil at about 31%. And then you're kind of going down from there. You can see gold is still down 7%. Bonds are horrible. And then you have emerging markets up 4%. You have the Qs, up about almost 8% on there. And then the dollar 1.14. And this kind of gives you a glimpse where Bitcoin continues to eat everybody's lunch and be a very, very good performer overall, and I expect it to remain as such towards the end of the year. For the rest of the year. Guys, don't forget to please subscribe and like. Take a little break, have some coffee, and before we jump over to Ethereum, just hit the like button down below and subscribe to the video. We're continuing to grow here into our channel views and subscribers, and a lot more people are kind of getting interested in the Elliott wave. A lot of people are coming into the Telegram room, checking us out, and seeing kind of what we offer in terms of perspective regarding Elliott wave and a lot of other things, macro overall. And all right, let's jump over to Ethereum and see how things look over here. This continues to be, look even better than Bitcoin overall, right? It's kind of outperforming Bitcoin, ever since, even a couple of weeks ago. We continue to look here to make new highs. It continues to do so. Those 4,700 targets remain, 4,000, between 4,000 and 5,000 as our targets for this year. I think they're probably going to get hit even sooner than that. We're continuing to kind of look at this third wave intermediate first, and then still a larger correction to follow in the fourth wave intermediate by another push up higher to complete this larger third wave primary. Wave 3 cycle remains in progress, and I think Ethereum continues to look pretty good. I think they've upgraded the network, and it's a little bit faster and cheaper. I don't know a whole lot about those. It's just things I've heard around, and the network seems to continue to grow. So the Elliott wave counts, seems to agree, and I'll look higher. We have actually a long trade in our room along with Bitcoin longs into our pro room in there, and we're looking for new highs. Here is how it looks on a daily chart. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm thinking we're probably doing a fifth wave in here. I'm trying to be, maybe a little bit too bullish on it in a 1, 2, 1, 2 scenario, but I think that's kind of one of the ways to count this, instead of having this as an ABC, with the maybe a flat move in here for a fourth wave. This move up here appears impulsive, so that's why I'm choosing to go with the 1, 2, and then another 1, 2 from here. So I continue to look higher. In Ethereum, it looks pretty good. Moving averages, this 21 week wasn't really tested like it was in Bitcoin. We're continuing to trend higher, and this looks good. Also here, look on the daily, we've came back, tested 21 day a couple of times, and then we're breaking up higher. 55 is below. This is 200 day, which is at about 1243 right now, and this kind of continues to point higher. We are in an uptrend. Here is how it looks on the crosses, right? Ethereum Bitcoin cross. It's this is a look from a couple of weeks ago on April 17, and back then we were looking at it as a continuation to try to see if we actually are able to take these highs from a 1-2-1-2 into the 618 level. And here we are a couple of weeks later. Ethereum Bitcoin cross took this 0.046 levels and continues to look pretty strong. Failed back just slightly, because if you look at and I don't have in here the Bitcoin dominance chart, but I think we're finding support on there as well, and this is probably going to help Bitcoin move a little bit faster than Ethereum here. So Ethereum Bitcoin cross maybe will just kind of slow down for a little bit, and but I still think that even on this three-wave minor, we're just in the initial phase. So it would be a 1-2, and then this is another 1, and maybe we're going to do another 2 in here in the minute structure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to kind of work this minor wave, and then we would kind of try to finish off then this larger third wave intermediate, and then the wave 1 primary. So this continues to look good. It should be explosive after a series of 1s and 2s to the upside. So I'm looking for Ethereum to outperform. All right, let's continue to move in here and see how Ethereum kind of looks in terms of performance. and seasonality in here. So you can see also on month of May, right, you have an 80% percentage of months in which Ethereum closed higher than it opened. So that's a pretty good month, along with the month of April. Then we're starting to diminish a little bit here into the summer, and then we're picking back up here in October and December. But if you look at the percentage gains in the month of May, you have an average of about 73%. So to me, that's pretty big. So I don't know what that means from Ethereum being here at about, what is it, 2,800. Should look pretty good kind of going on this month. Remains to be seen. But in terms of overall performance, both month of April and May, looked good. All right, let's see in here what's going on Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and you can see since the beginning of the year, Ethereum in here, it's up about 289%. Bitcoin, they're diverging a little bit. I mean, at least they were, and as kind of Ethereum was starting to move higher, let's say in here, right, Bitcoin was kind of losing a little bit, and that's why you've had the rise into the Ethereum Bitcoin cross, and now Bitcoin is kind of trying to catch back up while Ethereum continues to push higher. So this this ratio here, just like I showed you before, continues to favor Ethereum. And then going back in here over the past, let's say, I would say 5 years, I think I have it on. I mean, Bitcoin, it's just been up massive. But what I want to draw attention to, it's the cross, right? So that's the cross at the bottom in here. That's been, pretty much, flat line for, between, let's say, 2019 and 2021 in here. And then at the end of 2020, we're starting to kind of get into favor of Ethereum. So, that's been Ethereum in here, it's been, you can see in terms of advance, it's been pretty good back in 2017, middle of 2017. And now we're starting to kind of trend into the same direction. So pay attention to this, because there could be something brewing in here in Ethereum, and this thing could just kind of rip to the upside. All right, let's continue to go, and here is what I have in terms of relative strength in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin here in the middle, and you could see how Ethereum was losing relative strength and actually momentum, compared to Bitcoin, and then we just started to gain it back as we were kind of getting stronger, for the past couple of weeks. So overall, we're continuing to outperform Bitcoin. So everything that's to the right side of this kind of center line, it's relative strength and relative performance compared with Bitcoin, it's dominating. But we lost a little bit of momentum, and now we're kind of gaining it back. So this kind of shows you once again that Ethereum, it's kind of the place to be for relative strength. Going, to kind of look at both of them in comparison to the dollar. So this is the dollar. They're both kind of losing relative momentum. Now they're still trending higher, both of them. Sorry for my arrow, right? They're still kind of both trending in here, but they're losing momentum. So I'm curious to see, because if they're going to kind of continue to push it, I'm going to look actually for a nice little turn. If we're starting to break to the upside again, let's say in the month of May, these things should kind of do something like this, and then push back higher into the leading quadrant and start to kind of give you a really good outperformance compared with the dollar. But again, this doesn't mean that we're losing just because they're pointing down. It's just that they're kind of climbing at a slower momentum. Guys, I hope this was helpful, and here is where you can find me. Elliott Wave Cafe is open 24/7. The chat room, people talk and put charts, and they have questions and I answer, and it's a pretty interactive Telegram channel that we have on there. It's not I'm not one of those guys that I just post and just go away. I'm pretty involved with our members, and we talk and we explain counts, and I do daily videos on there about from the S&P 500 to the altcoins, and everything in between, gold and oil and stocks and all these other asset class of bonds and things like that. So you can take a 7-day free trial. There's no card required. You can kind of go straight to this link in here. It will take you to our bot and give you the options, and then kind of this is what we do. This is kind of a little bit of a menu, from the pro channel to the charts, trade alerts, stocks channel, chat room. We have a learning channel in there as well, and then there's an Elliott Wave course that you know, it's a 7 hours that you can study, you know, so if you can, you know, and that comes with the monthly subscription, so you can take 1 month, take the course, and then be on your way. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, and you know, give us a like so we can kind of rise into the YouTube rankings. And I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Thanks again. Bye bye.